I wanted to read a little bit to you all, just a couple of quick quotes by the Stoics. So the first one is from Seneca, and his quote is, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." And I think this speaks a lot to the way our monkey mind can just race forward into the unknown future, and also even into the known past, and to kind of manipulate and change the way we perceive things in the past, as well as what the possibilities are for the future. So if you catastrophize in any way, which I think we all do, I think it's easy to do. See if that sounds true to you. Do you suffer more in your imagination than in your reality? And even if the future that is yet to come is not going to be easy all the time, there's no that we don't need to burden ourselves with the pain of the future or the joy of the future, but rather to just keep bringing ourselves back home to this moment. And I know this is so much easier said than done. All of us have the tendency to kind of trail something into the future. So when you notice that your imagination is more, you're creating more suffering than your reality, can you have a radar for it, where you find yourself noticing that, and then have some skill that you develop to bring yourself back to the here and now, whether it's noticing something in your space, having some phrase that you say to yourself to bring yourself back to the moment, stopping and breathing and feeling your body in the moment, something to bring you back into your reality. And then the next one, they all kind of like come toward each other, I think, is, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Epictetus. Is that, anybody want to chime in if I'm saying that wrong? His lesson is, you become what you give your attention to. So this kind of trails into what we were just, what I was just saying about, our imagination often is more problematic than our reality. So you become what you give your attention to. So through your day, where is your mind going? What kind of replays do you have in your brain? What are you attracted to? What are you drawn to? Where do you spend your time? Who do you spend your time with? These small things accumulate, and they are what we become. So you become what you give your attention to. And the other one by him that is here that I'm reading is, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. And I love that, just the sense that there's nothing that we really need to espouse, here I am talking, right? But just the sense of, if we really believe something, if we value something, embody it. And then the last one is from Marcus Aurelius, and it's not what happens, but it's how we respond to what happens. And I think we also know this one. And, the other that I read from Seneca is that the greatest remedy for anger is delay. So, sometimes when we feel an urge to respond strongly and quickly to something, can we step back and really ask ourselves, is this essential? Is what we're about to do or say helpful? Or is it better if we just step back for a moment? So, how do we respond to all the things that come at us? So those are the Stoic lessons for today. Okay. All right. So let's sit up straight and tall and find a sense of alignment in your body. And how do you embody your philosophy instead of just think your philosophy? If you're thinking your values, if you're thinking the way you want to be, how can we now let our yoga practice help us to embody? What you put your attention to is what you become. So let's bring our attention now into ease. Find a state of relaxation in the body. Feel a sense of softness through your shoulders. Sense of openness in the heart. Can you dance with the idea of the heart being the leader instead of the mind? Can you almost feel as if your brain can kind of retreat a bit behind the heart, or you don't have to drop it down into your chest, but just have that sense that your brain comes behind your heart. Practice this art of slowing down with your breath so that you have capacity for delay, for taking time between impulse and reaction. So you have time to ask yourself, is this essential? Am I embodying my values? Am I choosing to act and think the way my highest self says? Melt through your face. Try to melt through your whole skull where there's ease that's coming. Imagine your breath can permeate into all the places that you're easing up. There's space that you're finding, relaxation that you're finding. Flood these areas with your breath. Try to allow your exhales to find their smoothness. So you can slow the exhale down, but there's not a choppiness to it. See what you can do to keep that stream of the exhale, almost as if you were playing a note on a flute, that you would just want to exhale it out very smoothly. Bring your hands together at your heart. Feel your sternum lift just a bit. Once again, as you bow your head, can you let the brain kind of rest within the heart, where the heart encompasses more than just our thinking? In this space, offer an intention for your day. What you put your attention toward grows. It's what you become. So what are you intending? And let's release the hands and find our way onto our mat. So lie down on your back. See what it feels like to explore your body, to just get to know. How are you feeling right now? Can we meet ourselves on our mat without expectation and without judgment? Okay, reach your arms up overhead and feel the body. Stretch one side, stretch the other side. Enjoy the open heart, the feeling of a little bit of a back bend when your arms are overhead, that sense of invigoration in the thoracic spine. Melt the skull. Okay, and then release your arms down to your sides. Pick up your knees and rock a little bit. Swing. Let your whole body rock, not just your pelvis. Let your brain slosh inside your skull. Feel your cheeks wobble from side to side. Your tongue and jaw are loose in your head. And let's feel into a steadiness. Draw the knees into the chest. come into happy baby pose. So big posture for your back. So just go as gently into this as you want. Drop your knees toward the earth. Maybe lift your feet up into your hands, extending the spine. And then knees back in toward your chest. And let's circle the knees. Kind of roll them in one direction. And feel again, kind of like you're a little slosh bucket with your pelvis. So let everything be very gentle and easy. Other side, rolling through to a different circle. And then let's open the knees away from each other and bring them back in toward each other. Just finding that sense of mobility in your hips. And then if you're able to, without blocks, and if you need blocks, take them underneath each knee, soles of the feet together, Baddha Konasana, and just kind of explore where your hip range of motion is right now. Let your arms release down at your sides. Let your head get heavy, shoulders heavy, take a deep breath. And you might notice that one side feels like it's way lower than the other, that you might have more range of motion available in one hip than the other. So just pay attention. And if you find that, go ahead and lift the knee that you perceive as lower until you feel a sense of balance. Full breaths. And then draw your knees toward each other, knees back into your chest. Rock a little bit, just let the ache that might happen in your hips dissolve. And then right knee into your chest, left leg long on the ground. Feel the good squeeze into the hip joint. And then change sides, a good squeeze into your other knee. So left knee in. We're gonna go back and forth a couple of times, a little faster. Right knee in. And then the left knee in. And you can go faster than this or however paced you want to be. Just kind of feeling into compression and then feeling into extension. Feeling the range of motion available to your hips right now. All right, and then stretch both limbs out like a star and roll your ankles and your wrists. And you might, if you get a hip cramp, just internally rotate your leg for a moment and then feel into some open and close with your fists, wiggle your toes around. And then feel how big you can get, spread out like you're Da Vinci's man so that you can get as extended as you possibly can. And then while we're here, we're going to take our right foot and turn your toes all the way in, all the way from the hip, and then stretch that heel away. And then back to neutral, turn your left foot in all the way from your femur bone. So your whole leg is internally rotating, and then stretch that heel away. And then relax. And now bring your knees back into your chest. Rock a little bit to release any tension from your spine. Put your left foot on the ground, cross your right thigh over and draw your knees toward your chest. Now you can use a strap to hold your knees toward your chest or just grab on somewhere, whatever feels good. Just opening up your hip a little bit. Finding a deep breath in, soft exhale, letting the neck relax. Let's enjoy the fact that we're spending a little time on the ground. Sometimes it's nice to just do some stretching on the earth before standing. Okay, one more time, open up to a star, stretch your limbs, exhale, knees into your chest, head comes up, curl to a little ball. Right foot on the ground, left thigh over right, draw knees in. And just feel into the way your hips are opening in this posture. If you have a tendency to let your neck and shoulders do a lot of your work, see if you can melt your head, let your shoulders relax. Okay. And then one more time, stretching your limbs wide out, wiggle your fingers and your toes. Exhale, knees into your chest, head comes up. head down, feet hip width apart, maybe wider than hip width apart, you decide. And we're just windshield wipering. So just get used to not only the range of motion in your hip, but the feeling in your sideways, kind of the rims of your hip bones. Breathing well. We're going to take this internal rotation a little bit deeper. So drop knees over to the right. You might need a block handy. So drop knees over to the right, pick up your right foot and put it to the outside of your left knee. So you can use a block underneath your left knee or underneath your right, wherever you feel like you might need some support. You want to make sure that your back isn't getting weird while you're opening into some deep internal rotation in your left hip. So if you feel your low back kind of arching and popping up off the ground far, make sure you're using support. Melt your head. Now, bring those knees back up. Knees to your chest, rock, let your back neutralize. And then put your feet down on the ground again. Feet a little wider than your hips. Drop your knees over to the left. Pick up your left foot, put it on the outside of your right knee. Use a block anywhere you feel you need it. It could be underneath your left knee, your right knee, even underneath your right inner groin. So just experiment with where a block, if you need it, might feel most supportive. And then reach and stretch into that rim of the hip, as well as feel the internal rotation in your femur bone. Melt your head. And then go ahead and pick your knees up, knees to your chest, rock a little bit, swing from side to side, release any tension. Then lift two legs straight up in the air. Let's flex and point your toes here. Just you can roll your ankles if you want to as well, but mostly just, start to get into the backs of the legs where we're moving into flexion and extension, opening up the calves, the Achilles. Start to feel that your core is engaged. And you can have your arms down at your sides, out to the sides, or up overhead. And let's slowly lower your legs down. I'm going to hit furniture, so be careful where you are, slowly lowering the legs down to the ground. Melt here, soften. When you're ready, let's roll over onto your side and come up onto your hands and your knees. Okay, so let's start moving through some cat-cows. Finding the mobility of your breath here. So round the spine and an arched spine. Enjoy. And feel free to move around. You can roll through your hips, or you can move through any part of your body that feels good. So you can move your neck around, your shoulders around, wag your tail. All right, now if it's comfortable, pick your feet up off the ground and wag your feet left and right. So we're on our knees. And just feeling a little bit of work in the low back, kind of moving into one side and then the other. All right, and then stretch back towards child's pose. Walk the hands far forward in front of you. Relax your skull. Open up the shoulders. Breathe well. Walk the hands over to one side of your mat or the other. We'll do both. Settle your weight down into your sit bones and enjoy your rib cage, your shoulders. Let your neck be soft. Breathe deeply into the side of your body. And then come back over to the other side and enjoy this side of your body. Every time you come into a strong sensation, let it be an opportunity for embodiment. And you're just allowing your body, your mind, your breath to all settle into the awareness of what you're feeling. All right, come back to center, up onto all fours. Curl the toes under and find your way into a dog pose.
Let's pedal your feet if you want. Dropping one heel, and dropping the other heel, bending your knees, moving your hips around. Enjoy. So once again, forget about judgments, forget about expectations. There's nowhere we're going. We're just here. So try not to have a goal of what we're doing. Just every single sensation you feel, breathe into it, be here now. All right, walk your feet forward. Come into Uttanasana. Let your neck relax. See if you can have as much ease through your spine as you can. You can bend your knees as much as you want. Interlace your hands behind your head and just a little gentle tug, feeling the whole back line open up a little bit. All right, and then hands on blocks. Come to a halfway lift. Thigh bones stretch back, spine gets longer. Spread open the bones of your feet. And then melt again, softly. Climb all the way up to stand when you're ready. Reaching the arms up to the sky, big open chest. If you're dizzy, adjust, make some changes, squeeze to the midline if you need. And open up, cactus, open the arms, enjoy the rib cage opening. Then round the spine, tuck the chin toward the chest, forearms to touch. Inhale. Arms big, open wide, chest broad, and then release the hands down. Interlace your fingers behind your back and bend your knees. Arms come away from the spine, let your neck soften and relax. Breathing well. All right, release the hands down. Inhale, halfway lift, spine gets longer, keep your neck neutral, spread open your feet, melt again. Step your left foot back, right foot is forward, finding your lunge. Okay. We're going to put our knee down onto the ground. Open up the hip flexor on that back leg. Hands can be on blocks or on your leg or on the floor, wherever you want. Your back toes can curl under or be flat, your choice. Enjoy the hip opening here. We're going to go back and forth with, I like blocks for this, but you do you. Okay, we're going to go back and forth for half Hanumasana. So straightening the front leg to dipping your hips back and then bending your knee and stretching open through the hip flexors of the back leg. So back and forth here, we usually do this with our knee off the ground, but just see what it might feel like with your knee on the ground. And of course, if your knee doesn't like being on the ground, come off and do what we normally do. All right, now we're going to stay in that half Hanumasana if you're comfortable. So, blanket underneath the knee can be, or under the shin can be very helpful. Lift up through your chest. Okay, rise up. I just have my fingertips on the blocks. Lift and lengthen through your spine. Drop your right hip down and notice if you want to externally rotate your legs. See if you can keep those toes pointing straight up. Find your breath. Now take your block from your right side and put it underneath your block on the left side so that you're pretty high. Open up that chest and we're going to twist to the right. Drop the shoulders. Keep those toes pointing straight up instead of externally rotating. Notice if your hip wants to pop out. If your right hip wants to pop out or up, drop it down and in. Open through your chest. Reach your crown. And then relax and go ahead and bring your leg back into a lunge. Lift your back knee up off the ground, long spine here. Find your breath. Let's rise all the way up to a crescent lunge. Arms coming upward. See what that might feel like. Open things up, lean back into an open heart if that feels good in your body. And then when we're ready, we're going to twist to the right again. Drop the shoulders, feel your core engage. Breathing well. And then release your hands down onto the ground. Front foot back, dog pose. Find your breath. Enjoy. Notice if your body's starting to get more comfortable. Are you a little bit more open? Keep the neck neutral and soft. Yield and then push Feel the reach in your body, feel the melting in your body. Notice your breath. As you're ready, come forward into a plank. Start to feel that sense of engagement. Snug up toward the center in all ways. All right, then when you're ready, put your knees down and find the ground. Roll the shoulders a few times here. And take a deep breath in. Open chest, open heart. Exhale. And melt back down. Second back bend. Go where you want to go. If you want your arms wider, take them wider, whatever feels nice. And then release. Come up on all fours. Move the spine about. Wiggle and sway. If you're comfortable on your hands, great. If you need to take your forearms on wrists, that's fine too. Left leg straight back behind you. Engage your core. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, bring your elbow and your knee, same side. So we're bringing our left knee toward our left elbow. Turn and look at your knee. And then inhale and straighten it back. Exhale, knee and elbow, left side coming together. Inhale, bringing it back. Exhale. Inhale, bring it back. Place that knee down onto the ground. Give your hands a shake or a readjustment if need be. Right leg straight back behind you. Engage your core, feel your glutes turn on. Press your shin into the ground. Find your breathing. Next time you're exhaling, right knee, right elbow. Turn, look out at your knee. Inhale, bring it back. Exhale, right knee to right elbow. Take a look at it. Inhale, bring it on back. Exhale, bring it on in. Stretch it back, curl toes under, dog pose. Enjoy the symmetry and balance. Enjoy the inversion and the breath. Let's bring our left foot forward. Put your knee down onto the ground. Open up through your spine. Let the hip flexors on this side stretch and open. Breathing deeply. All right, let's go ahead and begin bending and straightening with the knee on the ground. If this is comfortable for you, if your knee on the floor is no good for you, then you come off the ground. Okay, so just see what it feels like to stretch open the hip flexors and then stretch open the hamstrings. How's your breath? Relax your shoulders. Okay, let's come into half Hanumasana. Stretch out through the big toe and the inner heel. Drop your hip. Feel the spine grow long and spacious. Breathing well. All right, let's get a little bit extra height underneath us. So put a block on top of a block on the right side, so the inside of your left leg. And have a good place where you feel, it's awkward. This pose is awkward. So, just embrace the awkwardness. Press your shin into the ground. Try not to let your left hip hike out or up. See if you can keep it down and drawn in. Lift up through your crown, flex your toes. When you're ready, we're going to open up into a twist here. Keep the right shin pressing into the ground. Relax your neck. Breathe well. Feel that spaciousness through your spine. Exhale and relax. Place your left foot onto the ground. Blocks come out in front. Lift your knee off the ground. Find your lunge, so ground your legs. And then when you're ready, rising up, crescent lunge. Breathing deeply. Soft shoulders. A full breath in and out. Press your heel into the earth. Open up your chest. And when you're ready, twisting to this side. Relax the shoulders. Try to keep
the strain away from your neck. Use your core and breath to do the twisting. Organize your legs, hug to the midline, press into the earth. And then coming back up. Hands down onto the ground, dog pose. Full breaths here, relax your neck. Every time you come home to an inversion, give yourself over to it. Let your head drop, melt a bit, feel the yielding. All right, push forward into a plank when you're ready. Nice and sturdy in the body. Big breaths here. And then you can find yourself coming to the ground. However you safely do that. Roll the shoulders. Let's take the arms back behind us, palms facing ground. Lift everything up so the back body is strong, neck is relaxed. Breathing well. Melt and release. And put your hands underneath your forehead. Pick up your feet and windshield wiper your knees. And then let's find our way back to child's pose. Take a little pit stop on all fours if you need it. Relax your neck, melt as best as you can. Come up onto all fours. I'm going to show you this from the side. Now, I hope everybody can find their way into this posture. It can be a little hard to get your leg forward, so just do the best you can. So right foot steps back. Curl your toes under. You're going to bring your knee to your chest, cross your right leg over your left, and step back or sit back onto your heel. Inhale, knee up, unwind your leg, heel back. Place your knee down onto the ground, second side. Left toes curl under, stretch that heel back. Take a breath in. Exhale, knee up and around, drop back. Inhale, knee up, and step it on back. We'll do one more time each side. Right toes curl under, straight right leg. I like to inhale to bring my knee forward. You do you. Reach that leg up and over top the left, drop back. Inhale, knee up, drop it back. Knee onto the ground. Second side, toes curl under, knee comes up, left thigh over right thigh, drop back. Inhale, knee up, back you go. Dog pose. Extending through the spine, feel that sense of yield where we're giving ourselves to the earth, and then we're pushing off the earth. Those flows, the movement flows of giving and receiving. You are becoming what you think, what you feel, what you do. Where are you giving your attention to? Where is the mind staying? Are you speaking kindly and helpfully to yourself? So where are you putting your attention? All right, let's walk our feet forward. Come into Uttanasana, relax your neck. It's amazing how we can have so much unconscious or subconscious chatter about ourselves, about other people, about the world, about the past or the future. Let's see if we can clear the decks, clear off all that foam, and come to the still pond of the present moment. Halfway lift, find your breath. Exhale. Melt again. Let's come up to stand, rising upward. You can bring your arms overhead if that feels nice. And then find Tadasana. Let's just turn our palms open, facing forward so that we encourage our shoulders to open up, to find that sense of collarbones spreading, a heart having all this room to lift and expand. Soften your knees, melt to the earth. Release your arms. Let's go ahead and step your left foot back so our stance is shorter than it sometimes is. Arms coming up. Okay, we're gonna stretch forward into Parsvottanasana. If you want to put your hands on blocks, you can. You can keep your hands on your hips if you want. Ground into your two legs, so our stance is much shorter. We're in Parsvottanasana, not Konasana, size leg length. Okay, so square hips, lengthen through your spine, stay rooted in your feet. See if you can find the earth and then lift up into the hips. Enjoy. All right, bend your knee. We're going to lift up onto that right foot, lengthen through your spine. And we're going to come up onto your toes, lift your hips, square your hips. See if you can keep your right hip right where it is, but descend the heel back down to the ground. Keep lifting the hip where it is as you descend the foot. Extend through your spine. Find your breath. Stretch all the way back into Parsvottanasana, legs again. Okay, climb up, reaching the arms to the sky. Find your breath. We're going to come into a revolved triangle pose. Hand on your hip, stretch that arm forward and bring your hand down, maybe onto one block, maybe onto two blocks. So see where you want to be. Drop the shoulders away from the ears. We'll start twisting once we get our legs organized. So root into your feet. Keep that right big toe, the whole right foot grounded, and reach the hip back, just like we did when half splits. Reach the hip back. Lengthen through your spine. And when you're ready, twist the rib cage and lift your heart. Reach crown and tail into some length away from each other. Root into the legs. The neck is neutral. Keep the collarbones spreading, shoulder blades dropping down instead of hunkering your chest and shoulders. All right, and then release the hands down onto the ground. Back foot comes forward. Feel the symmetry. Enjoy the symmetry. Melt here. Now let's take our feet as wide as the mat and come down to a squat. You can turn your toes out a little bit if that, adjust your feet to wherever you're comfy. Elbows inside knees. Feel the symmetry of your legs. Ground into the feet. Long spine. Perhaps you want to take your arms out to the sides or back or overhead, so experiment. Finding the breath. And then we're going to rise all the way up to stand and bring your feet back to a neutral place. Find your breath. Tadasana. And now our left foot is forward, our right foot is back. And the stance is shorter. You can always take your stance wider. So if you want to take your left foot out to the left more, that's great. So find what feels good to your body. Extend your spine, reach and lengthen. Bring your hands down onto the blocks as you're ready. And you can keep your hands on your hips too. Square up the hips, extend through the crown. Keep your neck neutral. Notice if your right big toe loses its place on the ground. Root it. Find its pathway all the way into your hips. So as your right toe roots, reach your right hip. As your left toe roots, left toe roots, reach your left hip way back. Feel that extension of your spine. Okay, we're gonna bend your knee, hop up onto that right foot, and lift that left leg in the air. Half splits here. Feel the work of your glutes, turn things on. Now, if you're on high hikes and blocks, be very mindful when you lift up onto your toes for balance. So come up onto your toes, keep lifting that left hip. And as you start to descend your left heel, keep your left hip, lift, lift, lift. Okay. Feel that extension in your whole leg and your spine. And then step your foot back again. Parsvottanasana legs. Climb up. And bring your right arm up in the air, left hand on your hip. Extend forward. Now, maybe you want to have one block, maybe you like two blocks. So you can stack one block under the other so that your spine has a lot of space and length. This is not, you know, never think of the blocks as taking something away from you. Think of them as giving something to you. So you're giving yourself this spaciousness to work with. Root into the left big toe, reach that hip back. Try not to let the hip hike out to the side, keep it in. Extend through the spine, reaching that arm upward. Keep the collarbone stretching, the shoulder blades down. The work of the twist comes from your core muscles, your obliques. Breathing well, the neck is so neutral, there's no tension. As you root, what do you feel? When you root your feet, what do you feel through your body? Come back, round again. Full breaths here. Hands down onto the ground, back to dog pose. Extend through the spine, heart lifting to pelvis. Come forward into a plank when you feel ready. Integrate. You can always put your knees on the ground. Anytime you need support, take it. We're gonna find our way to the ground. Any back bend of your choice. So feel your way into a nice open heart. Melt and pull up onto all fours. Swish your spine, maybe drop your hips over one side, other side. Maybe move your spine like a swirl or a spiral. And then come back onto your heels for a moment. If this is comfortable, sit in a modified Virasana. You can always sit on a block. We won't be here long, but hopefully you have the ability to do this. If not, just find a pathway that feels good to just squeeze your legs for a moment. Find your breath. Come up to stand, and you can move through a dog pose however you want to get up to stand. It's up to you. Find your breath. Root your weight into your right foot. Let's just explore lifting your left knee up. Arms coming up to the sky, twisting to the left. Feel those obliques do the work. Drop the shoulders. Breathing well here. Come back to center. Place that foot down onto the ground. Root your left foot. Right knee up in the air. So focus on something that doesn't move. Notice where you want to compensate. So do you tend to push your hips forward? Do you lock out your knee? Maybe it's better if you have your arms down so your shoulders can relax. So find that alignment where your joints are softly moving into the posture instead of locking out the posture. Twisting to the right when you're ready. Finding the breath, shoulders down. Keep the neck neutral. And then release, come back to center. Place that foot down onto the ground. Okay. Let's enjoy your weight into your two legs and let's find another squat. So you can go wider if you want, or just like we did earlier, finding that sense of balance, symmetry, groundedness. How's your breath? And come back up. If you're dizzy, take a moment, squeeze to the midline. Okay. We're going to do the arms before the legs for eagle pose. So we're going to take our right arm over our left arm. So just have a moment. Let's just enjoy the arms without the legs. Drop the shoulders, lift your chest, feel the stretch across the tops of the shoulders. Maybe the elbows come up a bit and forward a little bit. Try not to collapse the chest back. Open the heart. Breathe into the armpits. Relax. Change sides. Shoulders down, chest up, collarbones broad. Feel into the beautiful stretch across the tops of your shoulders. Make sure you're breathing. And then relax. Big open chest, arms overhead, cactus the arms. And then release the hands down. We're dropping weight into our right foot. We're going to cross the left leg over top. We're going to add the arms. Right arm on top, left arm below. Squeeze to the midline. Lift your chest. Relax your ears, your neck. Breathing well. If your balance is off, that's okay. Just be where you are. You can always do this against a wall with your butt against a wall. Squat just a little bit lower. Okay, now stay in your squat. Unwind your arms. And then lift, stand, lift that knee up and place it down onto the ground. Arms down at your sides and let that pose go. Maybe stillness helps you let it go. Maybe you want to, wiggle your body around. Just let it go. Beautiful inhale. Slow exhale. Root into your left foot. You can cross your arms first if you prefer. Which do you like to do first? Do you feel more stable when you cross your arms first or your legs first? So our right leg's gonna go on top. Our left arm's gonna go on top. And bottom against a piece of furniture. Okay, so there's ways to support yourself balance-wise in this pose without holding your hand on something, so you can do the full pose. Breathing well. Lift your chest. Stretch your shoulders. Relax your jaw and tongue. Soften your eyes. Squeeze. Bring the breath into the side ribs. Okay, now stay in the legs. Open the arms. And then we'll lift that knee up. Stand up straight. Foot down onto the ground. Okay. Enjoy your two legs, feeling the roots. Breathe well, move around any way you want. You can shake, you can jump, you can wiggle, you can be still, however you like to release the posture. A beautiful inhale, full exhale. Last pass through vinyasa, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale for a halfway lift. Melt again. Step back to a plank. Lower yourself down. A beautiful back bend of your choice. Melt and release. Up onto all fours. Let the spine move about. Child's pose, let your body relax. All right, so this next pose may not be available for everybody, so you can always do a reverse pigeon pose or pigeon pose if this doesn't work for you. I have a blanket. I'm sitting on the skinny end of that blanket. So we're going to take the right leg and cross it over the left for cow face legs. Okay. You can try to get your feet to line up with each other, next to each other, and get your knees to stack. My knees don't stack, but I'm working the best I can to get there. I have a little height underneath my sit bones. Maybe you need a little more, a little less, just experiment. Lift your spine. Now for some, just being here is enough. You can lean back, put your hands on the ground, have that kind of fascial stretch through your hips, or you can stay upright, or you can lean forward. So experiment with how you want to move through the rotation in your hips. This is obviously a lot of rotation in the hip joints. Now we've been doing a lot of internal rotation, and now we're moving into some external. So just notice, this is different. It's a totally different feeling than pigeon pose. The other thing that I like to do when I'm here is I take my hands onto my thighs and I kind of press down and externally rotate my femur bones, like fascially, kind of press down and drag my flesh externally rotating on my femur bones and kind of walk down from my hips to my knees. You do you. Okay, this is not for everybody. Just find what feels good for your body. Make sure you're breathing. We're going to get our legs out of there. Dandasana for a moment. And then and you can take your feet hip apart and just kind of rock them, your whole leg, just to release. And then when you're ready, we can do the second side. Okay, so now our left leg's going to go on top of our right. Once again, sit up on the edge of something. If that feels good, you can try to have your feet line up on one plane or not, experiment. If you tend to be like hanging out like this, where you're listing all the way off to one side, it would be better to get out of this pose and do a different posture. Reverse pigeon or pigeon. Okay, so reach into the length of your spine, decide, do you want to go back? Do you want to stay upright? Do you want to come forward? Do you want to kind of dance between all of those? Whatever you're doing, try not to roll your pelvis back into a posterior tilt and collapse. We want to stay slightly moving toward an anterior tilt to the pelvis. Keep dropping weight in that left sit bone. And then if you want to do the hand and the, kind of rolling the flesh of your legs, externally rotating them, you can do that. Walking down from your hips to your knees. Just experiment with what is available. Make sure you're breathing. So if this pose takes your breath away, change something until your breath can be slow and rhythmic and you're not climbing up into your neck and shoulders. All right, let's go ahead and find our way out of there. This time, take your legs wide on the mat. You can still be on the edge of a blanket if you want. And just find whatever feels good. Open things up. You can come forward if you want. You can lean back if you want. You can twist if you want. Just find whatever is going to help you. Just stretch open, round your legs, flex your toes, kneecaps pointing to the sky. All right. Release. We're going to come down onto your back. Bring your knees into your chest. And relax. Just like we do in the beginning. Rock. Be a little slosh bucket. Rocking left and right. Nice and easy through your legs. Soft. Put your feet down onto the ground. Lift your hips and scoot them to the right. Knees come up and drop them to the left. Use support underneath your shins if you need it. Turn your head away from your knees. Let your shoulders relax. A beautiful breath. And back to center. Scoot hips over to the left, drop knees to the right. Turning your head left, let your shoulders rest.
relax and come out of the posture and find your way into Shavasana. So it might feel good to lay flat. It might feel good to put your calves up on a chair. It might feel good to have a blanket or a bolster under your knees. Everybody's different. So whatever you feel is needed for your posture, go ahead and take that. If you're at all chilly, make sure you have some warmth over top of you, maybe a blanket, maybe a sweatshirt and some socks. Just find your way into your most comfy, supportive Shavasana, so you can really relax and let go. Once you have your body in a comfortable place, concentrate on melting your heavy limbs. So let's start with the head. Drop your weight. Feel when you drop the weight of your head that your jaw and your tongue and your throat and the base of your skull can all relax. Your eyes too. Beautiful exhale. And move to the weight of your arms. Heaviness. Free up your belly for breathing. Go ahead and feel the weight of your legs. Imagine someone's putting sandbags on your hips, on your thighs. Feel ready. Deepen your breathing. And let's bring a little bit of movement into your body. How you like to transition. Find your way onto your side as you feel ready to do so. No rush. Just as you feel ready.
Place our hands together. Let's offer our light, our energy to another. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Blessings on your day.